What's up everybody, welcome back to the Art of Crypto, the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video we are going to talk about ADA, and after this period of like 60 to 90 days where it has been doing absolutely nothing, I do believe that it is about to be time for ADA season. So if you want to figure out exactly which levels that you are going to want to pay attention to, make sure you stick around till the end of this video. But before I dive right into it, if you haven't already followed me on Twitter at _the Art of Crypto, you're going to want to do so. This is where I'm sharing market updates, such as the market update on Bitcoin over the days that I haven't been on YouTube, because it does take a little bit of time to make a YouTube video. So if you want to figure out exactly like what trading setups that I'm looking at, as well as any market updates that I don't have time to make a video on, make sure you follow me on Twitter at _the Art of Crypto. For now though, let's get into ADA. So ADA, after a pretty long time, it is forming this kind of a pattern right here. If you just see this trend line, this is the kind of setup that I always like to advocate on my channel, because I always explain that markets move in phases of expansion and then consolidations. So this right here is the consolidation, which means the next phase is going to be expansion. Let's hope that it's not going to the downside, but if it is to the downside, then we have a way to prepare for that. So for now, let's discuss, like recently we had this pump out of this trend line, and now we are coming back down to retest this trend line. This by itself gives me a pretty good area for me to start a trade at, because I know exactly where I'm going to set my stop loss. In this case, I'm going to set my stop loss below all of these swing lows right here. Now, I know what you might be thinking. For long-term viewers of my channel, you know I talk a lot about liquidity and how market makers like to grab liquidity before they move onwards with their business to reprice the coin to wherever they please. In this case, I do believe that the target for ADA is going to be somewhere between $3.9 and $4.4. So to those of you who watch my channels, you do understand that my targets tend to be quite accurate. Now, will this take a few months or a few weeks to hit? Probably. So do not expect this to happen in like a week, okay? A lot of you come back into my videos like a week or two later and you're like, oh, ADA hasn't pumped like you said. ADA hasn't gone for 100% like you said. Oh yeah, obviously it does take some time for that to happen, right? This is a pretty large cap coin. There's tens of billions in this coin. It does take quite a bit to move it, like 1x or 2x, if you know what I mean. So let's get back to the trade. So if you were looking at ADA, I would actually, along at this retest of the trend line right here is actually something that I would absolutely do. In fact, I did already call it in my private Discord group as a trade in the 10k to 100k challenge where I'm trying to grow 10k into 100k. So far we're sitting at about 50k, but let's get back to the trade and let's not stray away from the topic. So at the moment, there are a couple of things that you might want to keep in mind that may invalidate this trade. So first off, it's going to be funding rate, but funding rates have recently been cleared out. So I do think that you are safe on that end. The second is going to be the Bitcoin volatility come the weekdays. So tomorrow we are going to get the weekly close for Bitcoin, and as you guys all know, there tends to be quite a lot of volatility in the hours leading up to the weekly close and the hours after the weekly close. So that might mess with the plans a little bit. And when I talk about the liquidity hunt just now, I'm just saying that, hey, you might trigger stop loss before ultimately pumping. But however, I do think that ADA's time is very soon, and I do think that it is going to start making moves soon. You look at Litecoin, for example, which I talked about in the video where I called the exact bottom for Litecoin, and I do believe that it is going to go for a 8x run. If you want to figure out exactly what levels to pay attention to, make sure you watch the video that I'm going to link on the top right hand corner. That is going to be a long-term analysis of Litecoin, and I will tell you exactly where Litecoin is going to go. But for now, let's go back to ADA. Just like Litecoin, I do believe that Litecoin has been doing nothing for pretty much forever. If you look at Litecoin against Bitcoin, like look at this, it has been doing nothing for years, right? And ADA, it has been doing nothing for a couple of months, and a lot of people are already starting to complain, and a lot of people are starting to give up on ADA, saying that Solana is going to overtake ADA. So this is exactly the time where you should be buying, right? You buy when no one's talking about it. You don't try to chase the green candles. So in this case, I would take a long over here. In fact, I did call it in the private Discord group, and I'll set my stop loss beneath all of these swing lows right here. Now, are you going to get stop hunted? Well, you might, right? It's always a risk when you place your stop loss along with, everybody else, because trust me when I say everybody else is placing their stop loss below this level right now. So are you going to get stop hunted? Potentially. But if you don't want to get stop hunted before the price moves even further, you could move your stop loss beneath, like even lower, right? Instead of 1.89, you can set it to 1.79. I do not recommend that, because that is going to give you a very wide stop. That's about 10% right there, maybe about 13%. not really cool for a trade. But when you consider the fact that this is going to be a swing trade, where I think that this move is going to take ADA beyond its previous all-time high and aim for about $4.4 to $3.9, this seems like a pretty good risk to reward ratio in comparison. So if I just move it down here, that's about a risk to reward ratio of 9.5. So if you think about it that way, then yeah, it does make sense for you to go on ADA in this way. However, even though I do think that ADA is going to target somewhere about here, you do want to still take your profits on the way up, because you never know when the markets might reverse. At the moment though, I really do not think the markets are going to reverse, but anyways, I will tell you exactly where I will plan to take my profits. So 2.37 is going to be take profit number 1, and then I will do it again at about 2.78, and then I'll do it at the previous all-time high, somewhere at about 2.96, and then once it breaks the all-time high, I will not touch 3.25, 3.4 and 3.6. I will take my profits at about 3.8 and 4.4, and I'm out of this trade. Now, the way that I stumbled upon these take profit levels is you just draw a fib from this swing high over here to this swing low over here, and you will figure out exactly where the price is going to target. And if you realize, I placed my take profit targets a little bit below the fib levels, as you can see right here. Now, the reason why I do that is because fibs are something that everybody uses. And because of that, like in the markets, you're trying to take other people's money, yeah? So it does make sense that if everyone's looking at the same levels, why not take your profits a little bit earlier than them? If you take their money, they can't take yours, if that makes sense. But anyways, those will be my personal take profit levels because I am primarily a swing trader. I tend to go for these 5x, 10x, 2x kind of plays that take, a month or two, maybe 3 months, 6 months, a year, more than a year. I am fundamentally that kind of a trader because I find a lot of joy in being able to just look at my positions, like evaluate my positions basically like once a day or twice a day at most. And then I can just carry on with the rest of my day. For those of you who want to be more aggressive traders, then I will urge you to mark out some support and resistance lines that I will personally have, like it's on my chart right now. So these support and resistance lines are derived from the daily chart, which means these are levels where historically the price has found some kind of a reaction once it hit that level. For example, at 2.95, look at how many times it got rejected there. As for perhaps 2.37, look at how many times the price got rejected and found support at that level. You can see exactly there. So you're going to really want to base a lot of the beginner traders that I see, they make a very fundamental mistake, and that is not marking out their higher time frame levels. So they trade looking at the 15-minute at the 1 hourly without first marking out the higher time frame levels, for example, the daily key levels. So then how are you supposed to place your trades? Like support and resistance on the 1 hourly will look vastly different from something on the daily chart, and the higher the time frame, the higher the conviction. So once you have these daily levels or these key levels, then you can place your trades, you can base your lower time frame trades on these levels. For example, if you're trading on a 15-minute and you want to take a long, I would do it somewhere about this level because I will look for a setup at this level because this is a higher time frame support and resistance. It's higher time frame sort of key level. And in this case, maybe I will look at a 15-minute and I'll go like, oh, this is a falling wedge and it is happening right at the support. And I do think that if I do take a trade here, it's going to bam, something like that, right? Just as an example, you always base your trades off of the higher time frame levels. This in itself should save a lot of traders. It will vastly improve your trading skills if you learn to just use the higher time frame, right? So many people get caught up in the lower time frame and that's how they get screwed. So seriously, the higher time frames is there for a reason. Use them. And for those of you who watch my channel, you are familiar with the fact that I like to think like a strategist. And because of that, we do not get overly biased towards any given direction. So in this case, I'm actually going to give you a bearish scenario. And in this case, if, right, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it happens, I'm going to want to place a limit order at about 1.5 for ADA. I do think that this is going to be the bottom for ADA if we ever get here. And the reason why I think so is because of the bullish order block over here. And order blocks are basically just the last bearish candle before a massive move upwards. The reason why this is an order block is because over here, you have sort of a gap, right? Let me just draw it out for you guys. So I want you to imagine that the price action between 1.8 and 1.5, there is a massive gap here. And if you guys know anything about futures gaps, so for example, CME futures gap, you know that gaps like to be filled. And in the event that ADA does target the liquidity over here, in the event that ADA, like the market makers, want to fill in this gap, then this is going to be the bottom, okay? I'm just calling it in advance. I'm not going to explain how order blocks work and all that. If you want more information about that, go look through my previous videos. In fact, I will link a video on the top right-hand corner that over there, I explain very in depth about how to use order blocks in order to find bottoms, right? oftentimes, if you watch my videos, I always tend to call the bottoms, right? I'm like, this price is going to be the bottom, this price is going to be the top, and oftentimes that is exactly what you see. And the way that I do that is through order blocks. If you want to learn more about that, as well as how to determine whether or not the market is bullish or bearish, then you are going to want to check out that video that I will link on the top right hand corner. For now though, the stop loss for this trade, I'm going to set it at about 1.38. That is just how I would personally do it, because this is an order block. As long as the order block holds, then, you know, the trade is Gucci. If it doesn't hold, then you just get stopped out with a minimal loss, right? Like, trading is just calculated risk gambling, right? It's not like gambling where you have a chance to lose everything. In trading, you calculate the risk and then you take the trade, right? And trading is gambling. It simply is. Accept the fact that you are calculating the risk and you are going for trades where, historically speaking, you will have a winning record, or rather you will be profitable over time, right? Do not expect every trade to go 100% win rate, but as long as you are profitable over a long period of time, that's all that matters. Now, before I dive into the bonus trading setup of the day, remember that if you just want to get access to all the coins that I might be watching, all the market updates that I'm making outside of YouTube, as well as any trades that I might be looking at, as well as following along with any of my trades, along with the 10K to 100K challenge, as well as the education that I lay down everything that I've learned over the years. And this is where you're going to figure out, you know, what works and what doesn't. If you're interested in all of this, as well as making money every single day, you are going to want to consider joining the private Discord group. The link will be in the description below. And now let's get into the bonus trading setup of the day. And this trade, we are going to be looking at GTC in particular. Now, this trade is one that I have called in the private Discord group. Again, if you want access to all of my trades in real time, then make sure you check out the private Discord group. But this trade, I want you to mark out this level at about 9.7, right? I want you to buy the breakout of this level. I do believe that once you break this level right here, you are going to target the previous highs. In my case, I do believe that the take profit target for this is going to be at least at about $13, which is going to put this trade at about 40%. Are we going to get there? Not necessarily. So you always want to take your profit on the way up. In this case, I will set my stop loss beneath this swing low right here, because if you do fall below this level, it means that you have violated this pattern right here and you are, you know, potentially going down. So I just want to get out with a calculated risk. In this case, my ultimate target for this trade is going to be at $24. Are we going to get there? It will take time, but this level I have arrived by drawing a fib from that swing high to that swing low, and that is the 2 Fibonacci extension level, which is oftentimes the top for many coins, at least the local top, right? Before a retracement, and then it might continue again. But I always want to take my profit on the way up, and in this case, in this trade, my take profit levels is going to be at about 10.5, 11.3, 13, 20, and about 24, right? You can utilize all of these support and resistance lines right here, as these are areas that the price is likely to find some kind of rejection at. So if you just want to take your profit at every level, go for it. If you want to wait for, you know, to maximize the returns, then definitely wait till about 20 or 24. Are you going to get there? Maybe, maybe not. In a bull market, I do think you will, but always take your profit off the table whenever you have them, right? Sell into strength, buy into weakness, right? That is the smart money 101. If you want to trade like smart money, do that and you will be successful. If you have watched until this point in the video so far, it would help me so much if you could just comment down in the comment section GTC so that I know who are the real ones. And as a bonus, you will help out the YouTube algorithm a little bit and help share this video to many other people who might need it. For now though, may the gains be with you, my friend, and peace.